ladies and gentlemen. All right. So I've been sending out a few uh, surveys and forms and stuff with all you guys and getting a lot of feedback on the particular posts. And so generally there's a theme coming back around where you guys would love help. So the three areas I've pretty much stilled it in is one around mindset, obviously, transcending all of those patterns. That's my jam, right? Transcending all the patterns of the fears, the doubts, the frustrations to heighten your level of consciousness. The second is around mission, right? So it's like I need help with the calling, need help uncovering this purpose that's within me, living authentically, right? Living authentically you. And just doing what you're here to do, doing here what you deep down know you're meant to do and contribute in that way, which leads to the third, which is marketing, which is what I basically describe as the business tools and tactic strategies, the coupling with the Western psychology with business building to execute your calling, right? So it's mindset to overcome, basically transcend the patterns of fears, doubts, and frustrations to then uncover your mission of what you're here to do, to then couple that with marketing, which is basically a way for you to execute on that mission, execute that path. If building a business, especially an online business, is part of your calling, is part of your, part of your expansion to share what's flowing through your heart, then those are generally the three areas. And what we're going to work on now, what I'm going to do this call on, is all about the marketing aspect. It's like if you have this calling in you, if you have this content that wants to come out, a lot of people have the question, how do I share that? What do I do? How do I do some things on Facebook where I can do things like we're doing here? Have Zoom calls and have people benefit from my content, right? How do I reach the masses and grow something of my own in terms of my own podcast or my own Facebook group and community and all those different things? So I thought in this call, I would label out the strategies that I've learned from my business coaches over the years. And if you're looking to do more content on Facebook, that's awesome. This is what I've been using it for, but any other social media platform is where this can be applied, because all platforms, all marketing, all social media, the algorithms are basically similar, but you need to think about the type of platform they're on, right? They're using their platform so that more people can stay on it, so that they can charge money for ads. And the more people that are on their platform, the more they can charge for ads, right? So they're looking to push out content that's going to keep people on their platform, right? And so that's what we'll get into. But one announcement, those who are part of the Patreon, I just made the transition to B1G1. So as of today, we started making some really cool impacts. I've written them down. So today, right here, right now, this is what a lot of you who are a part of the Patreon have done. We just contributed 88 days of education to underprivileged children in India. We've contributed 615 daily doses of vitamin supplements to children in Kenya, and given 2,720 days worth of grain seeds to nourish children in Malawi. And that takes our total in terms of the events we've done in the past to over 12,800 impacts around the world. Boom. That's what we have done as a community for those who are involved with that. How cool is that? Everyone, round of applause. Awesome stuff. I thought I'd announce that and let everyone know. But everyone who's in part of the Patreon, I'll be sending you guys messages and let you know. But that's really, really cool. Give yourselves a huge pat on the back. And I'll continue to update you guys with the rest of the impacts that we create moving forward. Awesome. So Let me give you a bit of an insight as we dive in deep into this marketing stuff. If you want to be part of the Patreon, you're not part of the Patreon yet, just send me a message. I'll be able to hook you up. You can join this cool crew. When it comes to the marketing strategies, I was learning a lot of marketing, a lot of sales tactics and strategies and places to build your business, and using social media. Some of you may know Susie Rosenstein. I hired her as a coach. Richmond Din as well, I hired as a coach, and they taught me a lot of business building, a lot of things around how to build online. And I was following that, and I started growing. I started getting a lot of engagement on my posts, meeting a lot of really cool people, getting consistent leads, and I started to grow to a point where I was doing 10K months and things like that. And then all of a sudden it fell down. I wasn't getting the results. Not only was I not getting the results, I was stressed. I was overwhelmed. I was confused. So much uncertainty. And I realized that it was once in my expansion to use these strategies. But then all of a sudden it wasn't. I found myself hooked by results. I found myself attached to the results, attached to the outcomes. So before I go into the tools and tactics and strategies and things you can implement today, I thought I'd share this with you because this is the underlying principle, is that no matter what I share, no matter what you can use, the inner work is what matters most. Because I found myself not getting results when it fell out of alignment, because it was no longer in my expansion. It was now in my expansion to look at the side of me that needed to get results to feel enough. And that's when, a lot of you know, about 8 months ago, I started my extensive meditation practice and really diving in deep and doing 2 hours of meditation in silence a day. I've been doing that ever since for 8 months. And so I wanted to clear that up first, because I started using all these tactics, tools, and strategies, and it was working, quote unquote working. But then I stepped back from that. I stepped back from posting on my personal page. You can even have a look on my personal page. There's a big gap where I wasn't really posting all that much. I went from posting three days a week, 3 times a week, to then posting really very little, while I was diving in deep and doing the inner work and transcending the patterns of why I felt like I needed to get results and engagement and views and all those different things in order to feel how I wanted to feel. But right now, since I've done this 8-month journey, and I've reached a different level of peace, a different level of freedom, and a different, level of content that's pouring through me from the last 8 months, that now I'm starting to really get back into it. It now feels in my expansion again to share this with the world. And I can completely feel that I'm just completely detached from the results now. It's a completely different feel. And even now, even if I can catch myself attached to it, I can very, very quickly recognize that. So I wanted to clear that up first of all, because if you're releasing content, it must be aligned with you. It must be in your expansion. You must be coupling this with the inner work. If you're to not only build a business that's aligned and that's expansive, but to also feel how you want to feel day in, day out, and become who you want to become. So I have put together just a few slides for you guys. If you're listening on the podcast, you won't be able to see the slides, of course, but I'll be able to walk you through it anyway, and you'll be able to get some really, really cool takeaways. So I'll share my screen, and you'll be able to see the very pretty presentation I made. All right. Can you guys see this? Awesome. Let me bring up the chat so I can see. So this is really what I wanted to discuss. You guys can see all of this? Yes. Awesome. Cool. So very, very quickly, a lot of you know that we're reaching a different level of consciousness, right? The planet is increasing its consciousness, and we need to evolve with it. Our businesses need to evolve with it as we increase our consciousness as well. So I'm getting on a lot of podcasts and getting in a lot of conversations around this topic. But I find a lot of modern day business is built around the scarcity, the fear, competition, attachment, all those different things. I find it's now in our expansion, especially if you're on this call, especially if you're listening to this on some other platform. I know deep down your values through love, kindness, generosity, serving, collaboration, those are what flow through you when you're tapped into your heart. And I feel like if we build our businesses from that standpoint, it'll reach a whole different level of resourcefulness, of creativity, of flow, of alignment, right? Where you'll start to attract those who are also in their heart. And this is what I found when I was marketing from a place of fear and scarcity and competition, and being in a space of, being in a space of not flowing through from my heart. I was attracting clients who would sign up for my programs, but they weren't the right fit. They weren't the right fit. And I believe everything is everything has its place, right? Everything has its place, but I'm starting to feel this stuff, these values are now more in our expansion than ever before, especially what I wrote down here in terms of allowing, right? In terms of allowing things to flow through, allowing results, allowing lessons, just being in a space of non-judgment and non-resistance rather than being attached, right? So no matter what you use today, like I said before, no matter what strategies you use, just make sure that you're very, very conscious of if you are attached to results, and to look at that pattern internally before you start to expand these strategies. So as I take my sip of tea, we shall move on to social posts. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Who here releases content on Facebook or some sort of platform? Who here releases content and or is looking to release more content? So we got Crystal, David, Jennifer, Rubia. Awesome. So if you're looking to release more content, or if you're already doing content in terms of posts, right, on Facebook, in terms of videos, all those different things, then this is going to help. And if you have any questions, especially at the end, instead of typing in the chat, we might put them in the Q&A section so that I can go through them and I don't have to sift through the chat. But that's awesome. So it seems like everyone's doing content. Great. This is what we want to do, right? As soon as our heart starts to expand, as soon as we start to tap into this higher guidance system, it's always towards serving, right? It's always towards sharing your truth. And so social media is an awesome platform to do that. So this is what I've written up for you guys in terms of social posts. This is what I've been taught, like I said, from my coaches and from the things that I've found that really work. But this is, everyone thinks they need to release a whole bunch of content, 15 posts a day and doing lives every day. And that's cool if it feels in your expansion, right? One thing I'll highlight throughout this whole thing is that these are some guidelines, but whatever feels expansive to you, you have to do that. Right? You can couple this with what feels expansive for you. This is just a guideline, but if it feels expansive for you to do a live every day, then do that. Right? I can't feel what's in your heart. I can't feel what's in your expansion, right? Especially if we're not in a one-on-one setting. But you can use these, and as I go through these, feel in you what feels expansive, what feels scary but expansive, or what feels aligned, what feels in flow, what feels exciting. Right? Really pay attention to that as I go through this. So these were the strategies that I was using that felt in my expansion. So I was posting, and I'm going to do more and more of this as well. But posting 3 times a week is probably is something that I found really got a lot of engagement. But also, so I wasn't posting every single day, but it was also something where I could have consistent engagement, consistent new relationships, consistent new people in the Facebook group, right? Consistent new people joining the content, all those different things. And so 3 times a week on Facebook on your personal page is something that a lot of you might want to think about. And this it doesn't necessarily mean in your groups. If you have a Facebook group, you can post in there as many times as you want. That's the wild west in there. But on your personal page, 3 times a week is more than enough, and I'll explain why. So 3 posts per week can lead into 3 different types of posts. These are 3 types of posts that, when worked in combination, can really start to work in harmony with a lot of value, and also with a lot of people just getting to know you. One of the biggest ways people will engage is through what I call milestone posts. All right, this is what I learned off Richmond Din. It's milestone posts. So it's everything in terms of your breakthroughs, right? Anniversaries. If you have a particular, if you have a particular goal that you were working towards and that you achieved, right? These are the milestones in your life are the ones that people are going to engage the most, right? Because they're going to want to congratulate you. They're going to want to be on your, side and share that with you, right? Milestone posts are huge. Now, you don't necessarily need to do these every day, right? But using these in harmony really works. So that's the one that gets the most engagement. The second one is really, really important. That's what I call role model posts. Being a role model doesn't have to do anything with business, right? Same with milestones. Being a role model can be being a parent in your fitness, in your health, in your diet, in your meditation, in your learning, anything in life in terms of your hobbies. Right? Being a role model for people is really, really important. And why is that? It doesn't have to do anything with business, but people can get to know you. People get to know you in terms of who you are, what's important to you, what you're doing in your life, and you're stepping up and you're being a role model by living living your virtues, right? Living what's important to you. People need to see that you're doing what you say you're doing and living the example of who you want to be. So for example, for me, when I took up the meditation journey, I had a lot of posts around me meditating, whether it be for 6 hours in one day, whether it be 2 hours a day consistently for 3 months, 6 months, whatever it may be. And people can really start to get to know you. And I know what you're thinking. If you're posting on your personal page and you're having, personal milestones, you're having personal role model posts, then how do people know about your business? And this is where the other type of post comes into it. And that's where you have posts around their challenges. So you do a post around their struggles, right? Their fears, their doubts, their worries, what it is. And so that you can truly add value directly to the people who you want to help in business, right? So if you were to have 12 posts throughout the month, right? If you post 3 times a week for 4 weeks, if you were to have role model posts, milestone posts, and posting challenges, you can and posting towards their challenges, you can really start to break this up. I would generally do out of 12 posts for the month, there would generally be 2 milestone posts. There'd generally be about 6 role model posts, and then 4 directly towards their challenges. Does that make sense? So 12 posts for the month, which is 3 per week. I generally do 2 milestones. If you have a big milestone or a goal or an anniversary or something like that, right? And you generally have 6 role model posts, and you can do 4 challenges that are directly towards them. They can also be call to actions if you wanted. If you said, "Hey, join my Facebook group," or jump on this Zoom call, or sign up here for X, Y, and Z. This is all on your personal page, but that can kind of start to break up a little bit about the types of posts, and then also about how you can couple that in with your strategy. So then they can not only, because this is what gets, it's a good combination of what gets really good engagement, but also letting people know what it is you do and how it is you help, and about your business and how they can learn more, right? So put in some call to actions as well. Put that coupled in with challenges. You don't want to do too many, right? You don't want to do a whole bunch of call to actions. Not only will you probably get flagged by Facebook if you're doing it on your personal page, but you don't want to spam people a lot. You just want to emphasize the value, emphasize that you're just sharing about your life, but then also weave in how people can learn more. Now, here are some tips on the posts themselves. The posts themselves. This is what I found works the most, and what you can really think about in terms of in every single post. One is vulnerability. If the more vulnerable you are, the more people are going to relate, right? The more you just share from your heart and break some patterns with just being really honest and open and showing courage, the more people will engage, and the more people get to know you at such a quicker rate. So that's one, is always be wary of vulnerability. 2 is every single post has to add value, whether it's a milestone post, role model post, whether it's a challenge. Oh, so many people just miss out on this. It has to add value. Add in a lesson. Add in a takeaway. Add in something people can tangibly do, right? Or a mindset shift they might not have thought of before. I'm always in my content thinking, what can I add in there that's going to completely shift the way they think, or something they can do, or how they view themselves, how they view their business, their life, what's going to help, right? Always doing that. And 3rd here is visual. Always make sure it's visual. So that includes adding emojis, right? Whether it be humorous or relating, but also adding photos. Add some photos on your posts, because people are visual. People are visual. And that's it's really key. If someone sees just a bunch of text, their eyes generally don't engage with it. But if they see a post that's got, it looks colorful, it looks like it's engaging, and you put some photos on there of you doing something silly or whatever it may be, right? People will look at it, people engage, and then they'll read what's in it. I know people are probably asking, okay, what do you do for videos compared to written content? And there's so many different strategies on this. Like, in terms of all of this stuff, there's so many different ways you can interpret it and things, but take what you will. But for me, if it's from what I found and what I've been taught, it's doing one video for every 3 pieces of written content. So it's every 3, you do 3 written posts and then a video. This is all, once again, all on your personal page. The reason being is because people enjoy written content more. Because when you're scrolling through Facebook and anything on social media, how often are people going to stop to actually watch a video, right? It takes up their time, for one, it takes up their energy, but also people just want to scan because they want control. They want control of how quickly they scan through the post, how much it is they want to read, in depth of what they want to read. right? So they want their control back. They can't have control while watching even a 3-minute video. However, you need to do videos. You need to do videos, especially if it feels in your expansion, because that's what gives you a level of authority, credibility. And it's what will also break away a lot of your patterns, right? A lot of your comfort zone patterns, and breaking through to something that's in your expansion. And also video is really cool to help them get to understand you, help them get to understand your mannerisms, your personality, your humor, right? Whether you drink green tea or peppermint tea. Where did my tea go? There we go. They're the cool things about doing video. You can add so many cool things in there. You get a lot more creativity and flexibility. I just want you to understand that written posts are also very, very important. They will generally get a lot more eyeballs and engagement, depending on the content, but compared to videos. So I can't see if we have any questions at the moment, but I'll answer if there are some. I'll answer them at the end. So that gives you an understanding of the posts, the particular posts that you can have, and particular tips and all those different things. You can also look at my personal page to have a look at this, because in preparation of today, I actually did a post this morning, which was a milestone post. It was a milestone post around the podcast, which was a couple days ago. I had my first triple figure download day. I had 106 downloads in 24 hours, which is a milestone for me. It's something that I haven't never done before. And so it's positive signs. The podcast is growing, but I just really wanted to put that as a milestone post. And so in that, if you go to my personal page, you can see that post that I had today, and you'll see that it's a milestone post. You'll see that it's very engaging with emojis. You'll see that there's pictures, right? And you'll see that it's got plenty of engagement. And that's why, right? That's why, because of the post itself. So feel free to jump on my personal page and have a look if you want to have an example. And even with some of the other videos and stuff like that, feel free to have a look. But what's really, really important is what I'll talk about next. This is what I call relationship marketing. Relationship marketing is what I've basically been known for in the last couple of years, is building relationships and building and adding value in that way, whether it's connecting people, whether it's reaching out on a quick call, whether it's just offering my service, whatever it may be. And I'll explain why this is so important, especially if you're releasing content on social media, because I've got one message here which says comment back, which is whoever comments on your posts, make sure you comment back, right? Make sure, because the way the algorithm works is it'll push your content, it'll push your post out to a certain amount of people. If those people engage with it, it'll push it out to more. This is exactly the way, to my understanding, this is the way a lot of social media works, right? The more a piece of content is engaged with, the more it's pushed out, because it sees that content is valuable. It sees people want to see this content. So it pushes it out to more and more and more people. If they engage, it just continues in people's feed, right? Because the more people who are valuing it, the more they're going to stay on that content, which means they stay on the platform, which means that platform can charge more for ads because there's more of an audience, right? So when someone comments on your post, it'll push it out to a bunch of different people. But as soon as the engagement stops, it'll push it out to less and less people. Right? As soon as the engagement slows down, it's like, hey, this has had its cycle, and it will fade out. When you comment back on people, when you comment on people's comments, it pushes it back in the algorithm and starts pushing it out to more people, right? Because it says, oh, this content is engaged with again. So having that as an understanding can help you see, okay, if I've got 15 people commenting on my post and all of a sudden people have stopped, people have withered away and the content isn't getting shown anymore. If I comment on those comments to like 5 or 6 of them, you'll see people start liking it again. It will go back into people's feeds. And you can start to stretch out the time in which you comment on those comments, right? According to the post and according to its performance. So that's one thing. That's one little tip that I've used. But here's the key piece. If you have a pen and paper, this is the one you should write down. If not, this is the one you need to remember. And that is that those who engage on your post, you have to build a genuine relationship with them. Now, this doesn't have to be, invite them around for coffee, right? It doesn't have to be you're their best friend now, but reach out in a genuine way and have them reach out in a genuine way and say thanks for engaging and help them. Be in a place of service, right? Be in a place of service. This is why when I had my post yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before, in the Facebook group, I asked if people want to learn this stuff. And a lot of people did. And that's what made me jump on to make these slides and prepare this call, right? And to do this content. Because I have a heart that wants to serve. Because I genuinely, when someone engages with my post and I reach out to them, I love to connect them with other people. I love to send them resources. I love to add content, extra content, right? And just help them in a particular way. Now, why is that important? Because that's who we are anyway. That's why we're in business, is to help people, right? You have a heart that wants to contribute, that wants to serve. But here's the cool thing. You'll build a relationship with that person where they get to know you and your heart. What do you think they're going to do when they see your post next? They're going to engage with it again because they know you're an awesome person. Now, you're not helping them so they'll continue to comment and engage with your post, right? That's a byproduct. But what will happen is once you have a community of people who love you, who you love, they love your content, you add value to their life, you're going to have a collective group of people who love engaging with your content. What do you think that's going to do to the algorithm when it sees that type of engagement? It's going to push it out to more and more people. What is that more and more people? More and more people who will engage, who you can build a relationship with, who you can serve from your heart. And the more that just spreads, it becomes, it just has its own wave of momentum. And this is how I've built my content. This is how I've built my Facebook group. This is how I've built my relationships, right? Even I was talking to a few people in the last couple of days. I have about, I think it's about 50 people all inquiring about wanting to be a guest on my podcast. And that's because I've posted in a few groups, and I've just genuinely built a lot of value on this platform. I've just built a lot of value to a lot of people. And then when I put out a post or when I put out a suggestion that says who wants to be on my podcast, who's got expertise in this area, a lot of people engage. A lot of people engage with that type of thing because Facebook sees me as someone who wants to be engaged with. And so it'll push my posts out, or it'll be it will it will send people to me because of that reason, because of that momentum. Now, here's ways in which you can help people. When someone engages with your post, you want to reach out and you want to genuinely thank them. Everyone on here, I've thanked you at some level, right? For being on this journey with me, for loving my stuff, for commenting, for supporting. And in response, I do calls like this. In response to that, I help you like this. I do these calls, I do the podcast, I do the YouTube, I do everything just because I want to serve to you guys. And so ways in which you can help people who reach out to your content are through here, what I've listed: collaborations, referrals, introductions to other people, service exchanges, right? Be creative. What's in your expansion? What does your heart say? What does your heart say that you want to give to this person? I operate from that place. And the last slide I have here is just one of this huge avalanche because it is an avalanche. It's momentum. It's riding this momentum. I'm sure you can feel where the momentum is. The more your posts get engagement, the more relationships you build with people, which means the more people will engage with your posts, which means the more your posts will get shown on the platform. The more your posts get shown on the platform, the more people will engage, the more people you'll get to meet, the more people you'll serve, which means the more they'll continue to engage with your content. And it just goes over and over and over again, right? You just build this wave of momentum where people are continually engaging with your stuff. And for your business, that means more and more relationships, more and more referrals, more and more cool people you can organize collaborations with, more and more clients, right? And you do it from your heart. You do it from a space that is your expansion. This is how you want to serve. This is a place where, because this is your business that is the difference you want to make in the world, right? These are just some strategies that you can implement to get that out there. So hopefully that helped. What time are we at? Okay, cool. I can stop the screen share. Does anyone have questions about that? That's my presentation. I know it's very quick, and I know there's probably a lot of things going on in your head, a lot of ideas, a lot of things you can implement. But they're just some really basic things you can have in your posts and who you can engage with on your posts. The thing I want to share is that you can look on my personal page. I only just got into this, and I didn't just get into this. I've been doing this for years, but I just got back into this. And already I'm getting a lot of engagement on my videos, especially, and on my posts, because I already have this momentum of people who love my stuff, because I was continuing to serve in this way, right? Continuing to serve in this way. And so you can basically have the momentum, start very, very quickly. But then you can just ride that and just continue to serve, fall in love with serving, fall in love with adding value in creative ways that no one else is doing. And that's just the basic of business, right? Let's see, we have a question. Jen says, do you plan your content or posts for the month? You definitely can. That's a very, very good idea, especially if it feels in your expansion to plan your content. I know some people who have just a calendar and they just have different posts. They have the days that they're going to do their milestone posts, right? Their role model posts, their posts around their clients' challenges. And so they'll just schedule those out and just plan them in advance. Right now, I haven't done that. Right now, I don't do that. But I've done that in the past. It can definitely help. Definitely feel in your expansion if that is a place. Any other questions, guys? Feel free to put them in the Q&A. Even if you want to add them in the chat, I feel like I can read it now. But that's a really good question. What else can I add here? What else can I add? You know, there's some simple ways in which you can do this, right? Really, really simple ways. One of the things I'll add is just be really creative. If you feel like you can't come up with a piece of content, I can guarantee you can come up with a piece of content. The reason why you can't is because there's so much to talk about. It's not that there's nothing you can talk about. There's just so much you can talk about. You just don't know which ones to choose. You just need to access a level of creativity, and resourcefulness that allows things to flow through you, right? It allows it to flow through you. And when you do that, you can just focus on adding value. You can focus on coming from your heart. You can focus on being vulnerable. Anything that's scary to share, do that. The first time I did this a couple of years ago, I released a video which was sharing my vulnerable coaching journey. Anyone who wants to start doing videos or wants to start this journey of being vulnerable, do a Facebook Live with the title, you know, something you don't know about me, or you know, something vulnerable about your life or about your journey, and just do whatever time frame feels in your expansion and feels aligned, but just rattle off and just talk from your heart and talk from a place of openness and authenticity and vulnerability. And when you do that, and I've cried on some Facebook Lives, and I've done some videos where I explain why I'm crying, right? It's just being in that space of being vulnerable, and people will engage with that. People will love that. And more importantly, it'll speak your truth. Don't necessarily release a lot of this content for them and for the engagement. Do it because it's in your expansion. I do it for you. Release yourself from the outcome, right? Detach yourself from the results, and just come from a place of what's in my expansion. And trust me, when you operate from that place, not only will you do it for more peace or internal freedom, but people will feel that. Right? People will feel you're not doing this for the engagement. You're doing it because it's your expansion and because you just want to add value. That's the key piece. Especially with everyone releasing content nowadays, people can feel that difference, right? You can feel the difference when someone just wants comments compared to this person's made a breakthrough and they just want to share it. You can feel that in the content, right? Are there any other questions? Any questions at all? Hopefully this feels aligned for you guys. Now, I'll put a post in the group because it's helpful for me. Like when we do these sort of mastermind calls, I love learning it from you guys about what you found valuable, and especially if you want to learn more about this, then definitely jump in the group and let me know on this post, because I haven't taught a lot of this stuff, but I'm looking to couple a lot of this with the inner work. And if this is what you need help with, then let me know, and I'll do more and more content on it. So I'll post in the group right now, the Connect, Contribute, Collaborate group, if I can find the link, and just comment on there about the biggest takeaway you find here, because that'll really help me, and then I'll do more and more content on those types of topics that you guys share and that you guys want to hear from. While I do that, feel free to type in the chat if you have any questions. More than happy to help you guys. So this is what the post is going to look like. If you jump into the Connect, Contribute, Collaborate group, I'll post it now. And just let me know what your biggest takeaway was, whether it was around posting, whether it was around how you engagement, whether it was around building relationships and relationship marketing. What was the ones that really helped you, so that I can understand a bit more about that. But this has been really cool. Once again, let me read these out. We should be super proud. Today, we've given 88 days of education to underprivileged children in India, 615 daily doses of vitamin supplements to children in Kenya, and 2,720 days of grain seeds to nourish kids in Malawi. What a day it is, hey? What a day it is. I want to welcome and thank you guys because these calls are awesome. I love jumping on here and just adding value the way I can. And I just love all of your support. You guys know it comes from my heart, and I reach out and get on calls with you guys all the time and help you how I can. So this is me. This is me coming from my heart. When you engage with my posts, like on my personal page, like a lot of you have commented on the podcast breakthrough milestone that I did today. And genuinely, it means a lot. It really does. When I release content from my heart and from my spirit, of course, I would do it regardless of if no one was listening. But the fact that it makes a difference to people, and the fact that it inspires you guys to share more of your heart is really cool. So if you want me to engage with your content and support you and help you with sharing your heart and your soul and your expansion, then I'm more than happy to do that as well. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks so much for being here, especially live. It's been really, really cool. So I'll see you in the group, and if not, same day, same time next week. I'll see you there. Awesome. Take care, guys. Have a great rest of your week.